Hi everyone, welcome to the demo of SQL Server Log Truncation feature in NAKIVO Backup and Replication. So let's start with what is SQL Server Log Truncation. In many transactional applications, for example Exchange Server or SQL Server from Microsoft, the transaction logs are accumulating during the operation of the server, during the operation of the database, and every new transaction to the database means a new record in the transaction log. The transaction logs tend to accumulate, taking up some disk space, and basically you may end up with all of your disk space taken by the transaction logs in the end. The log files of the database of SQL Server are backed up on every VM backup, and after the backup the unused log files should be cleaned up. Actually, your database might be configured to not accumulate transaction logs for an infinite time, but in many cases this is not so. So the workflow is start backup, backup the VM, then remove the log files already backed up, and then finish the backup. This is basically what is SQL Server Log Truncation about. The benefits of this functionality: you get the application consistent backups of SQL Server, you get your transaction logs backed up on every backup, and you can then recover your transaction logs from NAKIVO backups. The unused log files will be cleaned up on the production server, and therefore your server will not have the risk of running out of space. So basically it's more tight integration between NAKIVO Backup and Replication and your production SQL server. Let's now see a quick demo of how the log truncation is configured on SQL Server. We have an SQL backup job. Let's create another SQL backup job for another SQL server and enable log truncation there. To do that, let's just click Create and vSphere backup job. In the first step, we should select the original server. I have some SQL server here. It's SQL 16. We will back up to the onboard repository. Backup every day at 12 AM. Keep some recovery points. Use VMware CBT, and then we can enable the functionality to truncate SQL Server logs. We will truncate them on successful VM processing only. This means that if the backup is not successful, we will not try to truncate logs because the logs were not backed up. We will enable this functionality for our VM and use the administrator account to run the SQL log truncation. We can also add some other user accounts here if needed, but I have them beforehand. Okay, so that's basically it. We now have a job. It's backing up our SQL server. Backing up our SQL server every day at 12 AM, including weekends. And in the job options, the SQL log truncation is enabled on successful VM processing only. Okay, this was it for the demo. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to check more videos and more information on nakivo.com.